much more special, or if his shot made this venue a little more special. But it's great to be back to a place where so many of the legends of the game have played.
All right, that was just a brief part of Rory McIlroy's interview yesterday. Coming back, we're going to hear from Graeme, McDowell, Ernie Els, and Adam Scott. Then we'll get into my favorites and sleepers on the segment after that. Hang in tight. Nick Lott Show, Spreaker Webb Radio. Stay tuned. Back on Spreaker Web Radio, this is the Nick Lott Show. I kind of kill myself with little sound bites sometimes, but without further ado, let's get into some more of these interviews. Let's listen to what 2010 U.S. Open champion Graeme McDowell had to say. And there's a reason I'm going in order in these interviews. Webb Simpson won last year, Rory won the year before, Graeme won in 2010. So let's hear what Graeme McDowell has to say about the 2013 U.S. Open.
Does the rain we've had affect your chances in any way?
I don't think so. Like I just kind of mentioned, I think there's more of a premium on accuracy off the tee now. Yes, the fairways are going to play 10, 15% wider. Wedge play is going to be key. Obviously, it's not a long golf course by yardage. It doesn't suggest that it's a long golf course. Everyone is saying that there's going to be 62s and 63s in this golf course, which I kind of disagree with at the minute. Obviously, I'm going to go out there this afternoon and have a look for myself. I think there's 10 or 11 of these golf holes on this course are as tough as any U.S. Open I've seen. Driving, rough, green complexes, par threes. 3 of the 4 par threes here are all you want. They're very difficult, very long, a lot of trouble. So, like I say, I'm hoping it's not going to be a score fest. I don't think it is going to be a score fest. I think it's tough. Like I said about the greens, they're soft and fast, which is a bad combination for tour players, really. We'll spend the week trying to take spin off wedges. You'll see guys over the back of greens to back pins in massive trouble. I don't think it reduces my chances much, if at all. So I'm hoping, like I say, driving the ball, wedge play, those are the 2 things I've been working on coming into this week. And the greens are going to be fast. It's going to be a good test of golf.
It seems to lose the intimidation factor if it's not playing hard and fast, and maybe that's not as advantageous to you in this circumstance, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. If this golf course would have been firm and fast as well, I think it's funny because when I played it last Wednesday, I thought if the greens firmed up a little bit, it would have made the wedge play stuff easier because everything sits back to front on this golf course. And I felt like the back pins, if it gave you a bounce on the greens, it might have been easier. I think back pins are going to be very tough to get at now because of the way, because how soft they are. Yes, it's going to make the fairways more hittable, and yes, it's going to kind of allow those medium iron shots. And those long shots into the par threes are going to be a little easier now with the softness of the greens. But yes, it takes a slight bit of intimidation factor out of it, I guess. But the rough's going to be intimidating enough. I think it's going to keep everyone honest. And I still, like I say, I don't think it's going to be a low-scoring U.S. Open. I hope it's not going to be a low-scoring U.S. Open, but we'll see. We'll see. I think the golf course has enough defense.
We have a few questions on the right-hand side. Mike first.
Graeme, you kind of just said that you don't expect it to be a low-scoring U.S. Open. Webb Simpson was in here earlier. He said through the first 13 holes he expects to hit 9 wedges into greens. You have a course that measures less than 7,000 yards, wedges into a lot of these greens. Is there the potential, knowing the ability of the players out here, 16 under won it at Congressional, is there a potential for scores to get really low if the wedge play is on?
Yeah, your wedge play is going to really have to be on. I mean, 9 wedges in 13 holes. And then you got to hang on for dear life those last 5 holes. I mean,
3 for 3, saying the phrase hang on. Just keep that in mind when you're watching this weekend coming down the stretch.
Those last 5 are as tough a finish. I can't think of a tougher finish that I've seen at US Open. 14 is an incredibly difficult golf hole that if you miss it left off the tee, it's either lost ball. If you do find that you're going back to the tee box, it's unplayable. 15, you're aiming at the road. This guy's going to be hitting it out of bounds there for fun. The right-hand side's deep rough and deep bunkers. 16, with that tier in the green, as soft as it is now, it's going to be very difficult to find the top portion. That's if you find a fairway. Very difficult second shot. 17 is all you want, and 18. I missed my drive slightly off the back tee last Wednesday. I didn't get to the fairway, so they've got all the length they want there as well. So I get where he's coming from. 9 wedge shots in your hand, the first 13. That's if you hit all the fairways. And like I talked about earlier, I think spin's going to be a massive issue coming into these greens. It's going to be quite difficult to get to the back pins. Okay, if the pins are middle to front, you've got half a chance. But I'm certainly going to be under par shot, but I don't see 62s and 63s being shot on this golf course. I think I'd certainly take 8 under par right now and take my chances. I think 16 under will win, no doubt. No doubt about it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm right.
Question directly in front.
Graeme, obviously Marion is the site of Hogan's famous one-iron shot. I read an funny story about Arnold Palmer giving you a one-iron recently. I don't know if you could retell that, and if there's some sadness that club has sort of dropped out of the sport almost entirely now.
For sure, yeah. Mr. Palmer, we had some fun at Bay Hill this year, and we were on the range. He had one of his old one-irons, and they threw me under the bus and threw a ball down on the range and got me to hit this one-iron with about 15-degree loft on it, and in front of Mr. Palmer, which was pretty nerve-wracking, and managed to hit the first one pretty good. And no doubt about it. I mean, when I played here 12 months ago, I had a good drive right up beside the Hogan plaque on the last, and I didn't hit a one-iron for my second shot. I hit a 3 hybrid. I remember thinking to myself, I'm sure Mr. Hogan's probably rolling in his grave right now. It's kind of the way the game of golf has gone. We talk a lot about technology, obviously the golf ball for sure, but we look at drivers and hybrids and all these things that we have nowadays. It's certainly leveled the playing field from a skill level point of view. It's certainly increased the excitement level and increased the accessibility and the fun of the game, I suppose. But there's no doubt about it. Those guys were pretty skillful guys back in the day. My one iron, it's in my special archives in my garage in Orlando.
And you hear Webb, Simpson, and Graeme McDowell talk about the premium of wedge play, and that is going to be key because, and Graeme McDowell kind of added to what Webb Simpson said. He said, well, that's if you hit the fairways because, this rough's so thick. I don't know if you'll hear it in Ernie Els' shortened interview or not, but in the 25-minute interview I heard on Monday, he was saying, if you get in the rough, you're done. You're looking to advance the ball 100 to 140 yards. So basically you can only get anywhere from and that's if you catch it good. Because, I've seen people, I was at the Shell Houston Open earlier this year, and I saw Thjormorn Olesen from a distance, and he was in some pretty heavy rough, and it was obvious this ball was pretty deep in there, and he took a gigantic swing, and I don't know if the ball moved or not. I just saw the club go flying behind him, and he was hitting from virtually the same spot on his third shot. So I know what thick rough can do, and I've never played in rough that thick, obviously. I played in some pretty thick rough here at Memorial Park in Houston. But yeah, wedge play is going to be huge. And like I said earlier, I think the guys that are high ball hitters that spin the ball a lot, Keegan Bradley, Lee Westwood, Rory McIlroy, Phil Mickelson put some new irons in the bag in order to hit the ball higher and hit shots with more spin to hold him on what he thought would be firm greens. But this course is going to be playing a lot slower, so it may play a little bit longer than the yardage. If things were firm, I mean, guys would probably only hit 4 drivers around because, I mean, it is a short course, but it's playing soft. They're going to get some mud balls, and it's not what the USGA wants. And then there's talk about, well, I mean, is this going to kind of because people were skeptical about the U.S. Open even coming back to Marion just because it's an old style golf course. And I mean, you look at what Congressional was in 2011, they got a lot of rain there, but I mean, that course is playing 7,500 yards, and this is only playing right on 4 yards under 7,000 yards. But you heard Graeme mention the par 3s here. I mean, they have 2 par 3s over 200 yards, and then they have 2 par 3s over 200 yards, and they have a par 3 that I can't remember who, but someone hit a wedge shot and flew the green, like a lob wedge, and flew the green. So that's pretty crazy if you ask me. But let's listen to what the Big Easy has to say. Won the U.S. Open in 1994 and 1997.
I just love the idea of the U.S. Open coming here. I didn't get to watch the 81 or the 71 U.S. Opens, but I played it in an SAP day. SAP's headquarters are just down the road here, and we actually had 04 and 05. We had 2 golf days here, and they kind of run you around a little bit. There are quite a few groups that we had to play with, and didn't get to play the holes in succession, but I played most of the holes around the course. So I actually came up here on Saturday, and the course was closed then again. But I got to play a lot of holes yesterday, and really got a really good feel for Marion. There's quite a few blind holes, blind tee shots out there where you got to really get your line. So I got that out of the way and kind of got the flow of the course a little bit. It's just a wonderful historic venue, and it's just great to be here, and I think all the players feel the same way.
Let's open it up to questions. Questions for Ernie? Right here.
I want to ask this question first. The big people are quiet. Ernie, I wanted to ask you about your caddy and how that started, and I guess how good he is. We're talking about Dan Quinn.
Oh, Dan. No, he's a good friend of mine, and I met him when we moved down to Palm Beach and to Jupiter. And we played a lot of golf together, and he loves the game, and he's a huge competitor, as you can well imagine. Playing in the hockey league for such a long time, and he loves the game. He loves I don't know if he loves my company all the time, but he's a good friend, and I think we're having a good time. We haven't quite found our rhythm this year yet, but we've had some really good finishes. We won the Grand Slam together, I think 2 years ago, and finished second at the HSBC Champions Tournament in Asia and so forth. So we've had some good finishes. Love to put a major on that.
Other questions for Ernie? Right here in the middle.